There is a particular kind of shop that exists in the older parts of cities, tucked between a dry cleaner and a sandwich place, the kind of storefront that has been there so long it has stopped trying to compete with the newer establishments around it and has simply become what it is, entirely and without apology. The shelves go floor to ceiling. The lighting is practical rather than atmospheric. Every surface holds something in various states of repair or completion, and the whole space smells of solder and machine oil and the particular mustiness of electronics older than most of the people who bring them in. Marchetti Radio and Electronics Repair had been on Aldine Street for 31 years. The sign had not been updated in 15. The window display featured a 1962 Zenith transoceanic radio that Marcus Marchetti had fully restored 8 years ago and left in the window partly because it was beautiful and partly because no one had come to claim it and he had grown fond of it. It was into this particular shop, on a Thursday afternoon in June, that a woman in a white suit walked, holding her daughter by the hand, looking at the interior with the specific expression of someone who had expected to arrive somewhere larger and more impressive and is currently recalibrating. Her name was Deborah Ashwood. She was 44 years old. She was the chief executive officer of Ashwood Digital Media Group, a company whose primary business was, in the broadest sense, the future, digital content, streaming infrastructure, brand strategy for the new economy, the various forms that media was taking as it moved into forms that previous generations of media could not have anticipated. She was not, in any typical sense, the demographic for an analog electronics repair shop. She had come because her daughter had asked her to come, which was the reason she went most places that were not strictly necessary for the running of Ashwood Digital. Her daughter's name was Nadia. She was 7 years old, dark-haired, wearing denim overalls, and currently holding a red cassette tape player, a Panasonic RQ-2102, 1984 vintage, its red plastic casing cracked at one corner and its play mechanism making a sound that suggested something inside it was very tired but trying its best. The cassette player had belonged to Deborah's mother, who had died the previous year. It held a tape of Nadia's grandmother singing, a recording made at a family gathering when Nadia was 2, before the diagnosis, before everything that had followed, and the tape player had stopped working 6 weeks ago, and Nadia had not accepted this as a permanent situation. Marcus Marchetti was 41 years old. He was sitting at his workbench when they came in, a 1970s Nakamichi cassette deck partially disassembled in front of him, the kind of work that required the particular focused patience of someone who has made peace with the fact that restoration cannot be rushed. He looked up when the door opened. He took in the woman in the white suit, the child in overalls, the red cassette player the child was holding with the specific careful grip of someone who understood it was important. "Good afternoon," he said. "Hello," Deborah said. She was looking at the shelves with the expression she had walked in with, politely suppressed surprise at the density and age of everything around her. "My daughter insists this is the right place." "For what?" Marcus said. Nadia held up the cassette player. "It stopped working," she said. "There's a tape inside it and I can't get the tape out and I can't play it. My dad said it was probably not fixable because it's really old. My mom said she'd look online and see if she could buy a new one. But I didn't want a new one. I wanted this one fixed." Marcus looked at the cassette player. He looked at Nadia. "Can I see it?" he said. She crossed the shop and placed it in his hands with the specific solemnity of someone transferring custody of something important. He turned it over. He pressed the play button. He listened to the labored sound it made. He pressed eject and felt the mechanism resist. "How long has it been like this?" he said. 6 weeks, Nadia said. "What's on the tape?" "My grandma singing," Nadia said. "She died last year. It's the only recording we have of her singing." Marcus looked at the cassette player in his hands and then at Nadia and then at Deborah, who was standing near the door with the expression of a woman who had expected this to be a brief, probably fruitless errand and who was now experiencing something she had not anticipated. "I can look at it," he said. "I can tell you in about 20 minutes whether it's fixable and what that would involve." 20 minutes, Deborah said, in a tone that suggested 20 minutes was a significant unit of time. "You're welcome to wait or come back," he said, setting the cassette player carefully on the workbench. "Whatever works for you." "Mom," Nadia said. "We can wait," Deborah said. She did not wait gracefully, which was not a criticism, simply an observation. She had the particular restless quality of someone whose professional life had calibrated her to the speed of digital decisions, and a shop that moved at the pace of careful manual work was a different rhythm than the one she inhabited most of her waking hours. She looked at her phone. She looked at the shelves. She looked at her phone again. "Do you sell any of these?" she said, after about 4 minutes, gesturing at the restored radios on the upper shelves. "Some of them," Marcus said, without looking up from the cassette player, which he had open on the bench now. "The ones with tags." "The ones without tags are customer repairs or personal projects." "How do you even find customers for this?" she said. "Who needs analog electronics repaired in?" She appeared to calculate something. "In the current decade?" "More people than you'd expect," he said. He said it without particular defensiveness, which was the right choice. Audiophiles who prefer the sound quality of older equipment. People with estate items that have sentimental value. Collectors. People whose grandmother left them a tape player with a recording on it. A slight pause. "That last category happens more than you'd think," he added. Deborah looked at the back of his head for a moment. "Isn't it a bit," she paused, as though choosing the word. "Precarious?" "Financially. It's a small business," he said. "The margins are what they are. But the work is what it is too. Which is to say it matters to people, and I'm good at it." He still hadn't looked up. "Those two things are enough for me." Nadia, who had been moving slowly along the shelves looking at everything with the systematic attention of someone conducting a museum tour, stopped in front of a small green transistor radio on the middle shelf. "Is this one fixed?" she said. "Yes," Marcus said. "That one works." "What kind is it?" 1963 Motorola. AM only. "Can I turn it on?" Marcus looked up briefly. "The dial on the left." Nadia turned the dial. Static, and then a faint signal, a local AM news station, the tinny, particular sound of AM radio through a 60-year-old speaker. Nadia listened to it for a moment with the serious, interested expression she brought to most things. "It sounds different than regular radio," she said. "Different speaker technology," Marcus said. "Different frequency reproduction." "Is that good different or bad different?" "Just different," he said. "Some people like it better. Some people like newer better. It depends what you're used to and what you're listening for." Nadia turned the dial again and the radio went quiet. "I think I like this kind," she said. "It sounds more like a real thing." Marcus looked at her across the workbench. "That's a good way to put it," he said. At the 18-minute mark, he set down his tools and looked at the cassette player. "The belt is deteriorated," he said. "Standard for this age, the rubber degrades. The mechanism is otherwise fine. I can replace the belt, recalibrate the head, clean the tape path. It'll play the tape without any quality loss." "How long?" Deborah said. 2 days, if I have the belt in stock. 3 days if I need to order it." He looked at the shelves to his left, found a small bin, searched through it. "I have it. 2 days. What's the cost?" Deborah said. He named a figure that was modest in the context of what it would mean, not inexpensive in an absolute sense, but entirely reasonable. "That's all?" Deborah said. "That's the work," Marcus said. "Parts and labor." Deborah looked at him with the expression of someone who has spent a decade in a professional environment where everything is negotiated and is encountering someone who simply states the price of the thing. "Okay," she said. "Yes." It was at this point that Nadia, who had been back at the green transistor radio, turned and looked at her mother with the particular expression of a child who has made a decision. "Mom," she said. "Yes?" "I want to come back when it's ready," she said. "Not just pick it up. I want to come back and be here when he plays it." Deborah looked at her daughter. "We can pick it up, I want to hear it here," Nadia said. "In this shop. I want to hear Grandma singing in this shop." There was a quality to the way she said it, not dramatic, not insistent in the way of a child making a demand, but with the simple, direct certainty of someone who knows something and is stating it, that stopped Deborah's natural inclination to offer a more efficient alternative. She looked at Marcus. "Is that," she started. "Saturday morning I open at 9, Marcus said. "It'll be ready by Saturday. You're welcome to come back then." Nadia looked at her mother. "Okay," Deborah said. They came back Saturday. Deborah was not in a white suit this time. She was in jeans and a linen shirt, the specific casualness of someone who has registered, between Thursday and Saturday, that a white suit was not the right clothing for a shop that was what this shop was. Nadia was in overalls again, because overalls had apparently been assessed and approved as standard. Marcus had the cassette player on the bench, clean, reassembled, the new belt in place. He pressed play. The tape moved. There was a moment of the particular soft hiss of old magnetic tape on a newly cleaned head, and then a woman's voice, warm and slightly rough-edged the way voices get with age, singing something that sounded like an old Italian lullaby, the kind passed down without formal record through families that had long since forgotten where it came from. Nadia stood very still. The shop was quiet except for the singing. Deborah's hand went to her mouth, not dramatically, just the instinctive physical response of hearing something she had been afraid was gone. The song lasted perhaps 2 minutes. When it ended, the tape continued for a few seconds of quiet and then clicked softly as it reached the end. Marcus did not speak. He simply waited, in the way of someone who understands that a moment is happening and that the right contribution to it is silence. "She was my mother," Deborah said, eventually. Her voice was steady, but the steadiness was the kind that was being maintained deliberately. "She passed last September. This was the only, we didn't have much. She didn't like being recorded. She thought she sounded terrible." "She didn't," Marcus said. "No," Deborah agreed. "She didn't." Nadia, who had been standing very still throughout, looked up at Marcus. "Thank you," she said. "For fixing it." "Thank you for bringing it in," he said. "It's a good tape player. Well worth the belt." They came back more than once after that. Not regularly, not systematically, but Nadia had conceived a genuine interest in the shop, in the particular satisfaction, which Marcus had explained to her on the Saturday visit with the patient specificity he brought to explanations, of taking something broken and returning it to the function it was built for. She had questions. She had many questions. She asked them with the focused, sequential persistence of someone conducting a real inquiry rather than making polite conversation. Marcus answered them. Deborah, increasingly, sat in the chair near the door that she had asked permission to bring in on the third visit, and worked on her laptop while Nadia asked questions and Marcus explained the internal mechanism of a 1975 reel-to-reel tape deck or the difference between FM and AM antenna design, and found, in the particular quality of the shop's quiet around her daughter's questions and Marcus's answers, something she had not expected to find in a small electronics repair shop on Aldine Street. Which was a version of peace. "You were rude to him," Nadia told her, on the drive home after the fourth visit, with the specific directness of someone who has been thinking about something for a while and has decided to raise it. "When?" Deborah said. "The first day," Nadia said. "You asked if his business was precarious. You said it like it was a bad thing." Deborah was quiet for a moment. "You're right," she said. "That was rude." "He just said it matters to people and he's good at it," Nadia said. "I think that's actually a really good reason to do something." "I think so too," Deborah said. "Now. Did you not think so before?" I think I forgot to think so, Deborah said. For a while. Nadia considered this. Because of work, she said. Because of work, Deborah said. Do you think the shop helped you remember? Deborah looked at the road ahead, at the city moving past the car windows in its ordinary, busy way. I think you helped me remember, she said. The shop was where you made me go. Nadia accepted this with the solemn satisfaction of someone whose assessment of a situation has been confirmed. Good, she said. And perhaps that is the quiet truth tucked inside a Thursday afternoon like this one, that the things we are most tempted to dismiss as small or precarious or out of step with the current moment are very often the things that hold what cannot be replaced. A shop that knows how to fix old things is not behind the times. It is the custodian of the times that came before, and of everything those times left behind in the hands of people who love them. A child knew this before her mother did. Children often know these things first. They haven't learned yet to mistake efficiency for value, or newness for worth. They simply recognize what matters and refuse to leave without it. That is the oldest and most reliable kind of wisdom there is. /br/br